your own health and wellness. It's something that he prioritizes in our office. So I run his healthy food initiatives. And just for those who don't know his health journey, about 4 years ago, he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and it was so severe. He was blind in his left eye, tingling in his fingers and toes. And he then started to eat differently. He had been told by 5 different doctors that he would be on insulin the rest of his life, and he just did not believe that that was the case, did not need for that to be the case. And so he went on a whole food plant-based diet journey and reversed his vision loss and completely reversed the diabetes, and now lives without it. And so he helped his mother to do the same. At 80 years old, she went on a whole food plant-based diet journey, and she was able to get off her insulin after being on insulin for 7 years. And so he's actually coming out with a book called Healthy at Last that goes over that health journey as well. And so with that, I if there's any specific questions that I can answer, anything that folks have insight on, would love to hear. But I'm really just here to bring greetings on behalf of the borough president.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Anybody have anything to ask or say?
Who's the author of the Healthy at Last?
Eric Adams.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I have a question, Audrey here. Was he on insulin at all, or was he diagnosed as pre-diabetic?
Hold on one second. So he actually went in for he went in for an ulcer, and that's what he went in for the doctor to have them check out. He had thought it was colon cancer because he had a friend recently passed from colon cancer. And so he didn't know that he was diabetic. So he walked in on no medicine. He walked out like a Dwayne Reed and on a bunch of medicine. But then when he was kind of told that and told that's the journey he's going to have to be on insulin the rest of his life, he went to Googled reversing diabetes, found Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn out of the Cleveland Clinic, and found Dr. Michael Greger, who wrote How Not to Die, and just started learning more about whole food plant-based nutrition, and it changed his life forever.
See, it's really amazing because I myself am a nurse, and I've been diagnosed with pre-diabetes for like 4 years. And when I started out my journey, I was at a A1C, which is your marker.
Yep.
And my marker was 7.2, because that was the first time I didn't know I had diabetes. But I was able to bring it down to 5.9, which is still pre-diabetic.
Right.
But I'm really trying to reverse the process. So it's really good news to hear that you can reverse diabetes by just plant-based.
Right. And healthy plant-based.
And healthy plant-based, absolutely.
Because, technically Oreos are plant-based, and, that's not what's going to get us to where we want to be. But indeed, the healthy plant-based, eating whole foods, rice, beans, veggies, those sorts of foods, it will indeed reverse type 2 diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Audrey, how did you find out about how to control your diabetes?
Well, one of the first things I did a lot of research, and I still do research on diabetes. And many, many years ago, Fumi had me juicing and different things, but I didn't follow through. And I look at her lifestyle, and I was telling one of my sisters today that I wish I had the wherewithal to follow her teachings. I would never have been diagnosed with pre-diabetes, because she has never been. It is in the genes, but she has never been diagnosed with diabetes.
Yeah. And one of the things that we're working on at the office is nutrition education in med schools, trying to move the needle. Because right now people go to their doctors, they say, hey, what should I eat? And realistically, That's your doctor has not been trained in nutrition. There's about usually 4 hours of nutrition education training in all of med school, which is just it's sad when we think that actually nutrition has the power to prevent and reverse so many diseases. And disease reversal is something that we want to really get that term out there, because it's not this is not, you know, snake oil science. Like, there is science that backs up, if you eat plants, if you eat whole plant foods, you can indeed reverse many diseases.
And one of the sad things is that I was fortunate being a nurse that I found an endocrinologist who just does diabetes. And even though my A1C was so high, she wanted to give me the opportunity to bring it down on my own. She said, Audrey, you're a nurse, you can do this. And thank God for 4 years, I've not been on any insulin or medication. It's strictly diet and exercise. Strictly diet and exercise. But diabetes is a tough disease to fight, because your brain remembers the sugar. And all around you is starch. You can't go in a restaurant and really not have starch. They don't cater for you. So it's really, really tough. You have to really make tough choices.
And I do want to bring up, I mean, there's another group that we look to a lot called Mastering Diabetes. They do online coaching as well for type 1 and type 2 diabetics. But you know, one thing that they recently had the bar president on their podcast to discuss is fruit is something that, you know, folks are, the like myth out there is that if you're diabetic, you shouldn't eat fruit. And that is just not true. If you eat a whole food plant-based diet, you can eat fruit. It is just inaccurate. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I so apologize.
Okay, so any thoughts about what she said? Anyone?
Thoughts concerning diabetes or just plant-based nutrition?
Plant-based.
Well, sure. I mean, plant-based nutrition has been something that I know I've been battling with people for the last 15 years. Coming from the fashion industry and then being diagnosed with MS and being paralyzed for a short amount of time. My mother knows this, relearning how to go about functioning again and then getting back into my lifestyle again took all 15, 16 years. And I didn't realize until maybe 3 years into it, reading a book by a doctor, her name is Dr. Wall, W-H-A-L. And she is a neuroscientist that basically was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, was paralyzed in a wheelchair. And based on a plant-based regimen, this is maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 35 years ago, she was able to reverse her MS symptoms, walk again, not only walk again, run over 10 marathons. Not everyone's case is like that. However, I have realized that if you do take away from things, and I know that it's rough, like I've been having these kind of arguments off and on over the years with my mom about food. She asks me questions, I try to give her things. I can't push too hard, just like she can't push too hard with me. But I know that we butt heads because she comes from a different philosophy at the time of how to maintain your health and how to ask doctors questions and get help from doctors. And since it's changed, people have realized that doctors don't have all the answers, and we rely on them too much. I think that it's important that we understand both sides of the fence, you know, that we go get diagnosed, but at the same time, we realize that there's other options out there that can help us. And I mean, looking at me, and if you ever meet me, I do triathlons now, and you would never know that I suffer from MS because of the plant-based diet that this woman, Rachel, was talking about. And it's real. I attest to it. So
Love that. I love that. And there's a few other folks who live with MS and have reversed many. I remember I got someone to start eating. There's a frozen meal company called Plantable that is a plant-based company, and I remember she called me and she said, Rachel, I can finally feel the hot water running in the sink. For a while, my MS made me not be able to feel my fingers. And she had been eating plantable for a few weeks or months at that point, and she
Right.
was there were some symptoms that were being reversed. It was truly amazing.
No, it's you know, what I tell people is that yes, you can follow me, you can see that I live the lifestyle, but the only way that you can really drink the Kool-Aid is if you actually try it for 90 days and really see the change, like this, your biometrics, but also how you feel. You notice things right away. And then what happens is that, you know, guys and women out there that aren't doing it, but what I tell them is that you can have fun with plant-based diet more than meat. Like there's so many cool things that you can make and so many cool desserts you can eat that will not hurt you if you just take the time to make them. And I mean, it exists. I've seen it, and I'm like, whoa. Even Fumi, who's now my nutritionist and helping me with my races and MS life, she's been bringing me stuff every morning. I train with people like these juices. I don't ask her what's in it. I just drink it because I know it. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a perfect segue. Perfect segue. Eating this way can be so much fun. I've been doing it for so long. It's ridiculously fun. I'm doing so much stuff, and so that's what, you know, the next 2 weeks is going to be about. Next Saturday, the following, we're going to be in the kitchen cooking. I'm going to tell you what we're preparing. You can prepare it with me virtually, and enjoy it. You know. So
Can I say something, Judy?
yes.
Me? I just want to say it bring me back to our story, because sometimes people be talking about diabetes, but I'll tell you what happened to me maybe like 10 years ago. I was having a lot of issues with my stomach, a lot of issues, a lot of heavy bleeding and different gynecological problems. And I remember going for a blood test, and I had cancer markers that were so high that the doctors were like confused as to where these markers were coming from. And it was a marker that was definitive for your uterine cancer. In a normal uterine cancer test, it is between, I think it was like between 7 and 12. And what the doctor said to me, he says, I've had females who came to me with a 7 and had stage 3 uterine cancer. My markers were 14,000.
Oh my God.
And it was a very, very anxious moment for me, because I just felt, he said he's never seen markers like this. He said, Audrey, it looked like your whole body is cancer. Can you imagine getting news like that? And they wanted me to go in for surgery. I'm having a flashback. Anyhow, it so happened that I spoke to Fumi, and she said, don't follow them. I want you to do twice a day. And I remember as a nurse, used to go into the hospital with my juicer. I would pack all my stuff for my lunch. I would have the breakfast juice, and I would have the lunch juice. And I'm gonna tell you something, I was diligent with it. I got all the organic, the whole foods. And that was before the days of alkaline. And I didn't know anything about alkaline. I was juicing carrots. What Fumi had said to me, do not juice your fruits and your vegetables. Don't mix them. So I was doing the carrots and the spinach and ginger and beets. That's what gave me a little sugar. But in 1 week, the markers moved from 1400 to 700. By the second week of juicing, the markers went down to 35. And I remember when I went to 35, the doctor said, you have a marker 35? When did this happen? She was older. I said, you remember I moved from 1400? She said, oh, Jesus. Oh, good God. I remember that. What happened? In 2 weeks, they're down to 35. By the third week, I had normal markers. And it was just juicing and eating a plant-based diet. But you know, sometimes your brain forgets. The summer comes along and you're back to the barbecues.
Oh boy.
But I didn't have to have that surgery.
But I just wanted everybody to thank Rachel. Rachel came in because Mr. Eric Adams could not make it, but I really appreciated him. You know, she was stepping in.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, everyone. I'm so excited. You're in the best hands ever. So I I echo what Siku was saying, that, if you gave me something to drink, I would also drink it without even asking. So excited for you, excited for this journey. Thank you so much for inviting me. So have a lovely night, y'all.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have the next speaker is going to be Sekou. Sekou, there you go. You have the floor.
Oh, so how do you want me to start this off?
However you want. Encouraging people. You kind of started talking about plant-based.
Right.
How
So,
MS.
sure. So I guess I could field any questions that people have as I speak. I was diagnosed with MS 16 years ago now. Wow. And I remember it so clearly because I reached out to my mother after the fact, not during, but after the fact, because I was just scared. And I was like a very popular model at the time for about 8 years in the industry. And when this happened, I was living in Harlem and I was cooking dinner and my legs gave out and I was paralyzed from the waist down, out of the blue. No warning, no testing, no nothing. So I thought I was dying. I remember taking my vitals, dragging myself to my cell phone and calling 911. And then the next thing I remember, I was at the hospital. A week later, they gave me a spinal tap. It came to find out that I had MS, but I wasn't sure what kind of MS because I was still new to the whole word MS, multiple sclerosis, and really what that meant. At the time, doctors were saying that MS is not hereditary. This is what was being said across the board. What didn't make sense to me is that something to be hereditary has to be passed along through your gene pool, through your family members, correct? So I'm like, okay, who else in my family has MS? My mother, who's on the phone, Lynette, she was diagnosed with MS back in the 90s, and this is before any of the medicines. 2000, right, but they only had capacity.
2000 officially, because the methodology used then, or the thinking in the scientific community, unless someone had 3 major attacks, they wouldn't label it MS.
Right.
But I believe I was getting signals. I could look back once I was diagnosed in 2000, back to 1989. But go ahead. I don't want to
right.
change the train of thought.
No. Thanks, Ma. No, that's important to keep me the factuality, the dates correct. So that being said, I then I talked to my mom a little bit years later, but we were talking, and I always knew that my grandmother, the word MS as a kid was being brought up. Not MS, but later in life, MS was being brought up, that grandma has MS and her balance is off. But my grandmother was very able. I mean, very, very able. And you would never think that she was symptomatic.
She was a nurse. She was a registered nurse.
So that being said, I have 2 other family members that are in my bloodline, my grandmother and my mother, and now me. So I was just like, oh, heck no, this is more than what they're trying to say. So I then went down the rabbit hole of starting to guinea pig. I wasn't trusting the doctors that I had come across because at the time I didn't know what was going on with me. I was in denial, but also trying to fix myself, but not really understanding what was going on, not asking the correct questions, not wanting to hear the correct answers even. So you go through a process of trying to figure yourself out, and without throwing yourself off a building, hopefully, you go through this depression, and then hopefully you get out of that depression and you realize, okay, what do I need to do? I broke down and I was just like, what do I do? I was crying. I was like, what do I need to do? None of my friends know I'm going through this. No people in the fashion industry know I'm going through this. They just think Sekou is on vacation for 2 months. So I really have no one to go to. And I at the time, if my mother remembers, I couldn't really go to her because I think she was so scared for me that she was coming across to me as a know-it-all, even though I should have been listening to her. But at the time, I didn't want to hear it. And she knows, we argued. I mean, I cursed her because I was so scared.
First time in his life. So I said, I hope the MS doesn't get into his brain.
Yeah, so I was really upset with my mother because she's a college educated teacher, I mean, her accolades go through the roof. And I'm an only child growing up in Boston as a Black male. So you already know how I had to have been raised in order to survive being in Boston. So that being said, kudos to my mother, but sometimes it's overbearing. I'm like, whoa. So, you know, I should have listened to her, but like I said, I need to go through this process on my own. And so I started to get books. I went to the library. I had my crutches. I used the wheelchair. I didn't go out in public to see people that I knew, but I was still making an effort to get out there and see what was going on about how I could fix myself without getting an injection, because I just don't like needles. And that kind of led me to figuring out the different vitamins that you need for your body just to function. The different foods that you need in your body daily just to function that people are not ingesting, that they're not getting from the supermarket at all. And they're wondering why they have these ailments later on in life. If you go back and follow the timeline, you can figure it out. If you had a laundry list or a food list of what they're eating, you would know. And so because of that, it brought me to this aha moment. I started a blog and I started just talking about all the things about me peeing myself, about everything that I thought would have been embarrassing. I unloaded, and I was able to free myself from this MF called MS, and I became friends with MS. I stopped using this disability as a disability and as a crutch, but I was like, you know what? This can feed my already cool ass ego, and I can beat this thing. I can make it happen. And that's what it was. It was the desire not to just disintegrate, because that's what was happening to me. And then the food option came in. I only could cook 4 things vegetarian, meaning like 4 healthy meals. It was 4. And after a year of that, I was so sick of it. I was like, hell no, I want pizza. I want McDonald's. I was walking again, even though I was like limping, but I was like, I want a beer. I want everything else. And I didn't do it.
That's where we were banging heads.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of ego. And at one point, I just had to back off because I knew he wasn't hearing me. What he didn't know is that I had gone through very quietly, changed my dietary thing. To this day, maybe this is the first he's hearing of it. But he was coming across like a know-it-all. And at the same time, I was concerned about his health and what it meant in terms of the MS. And so I'm just glad he got on the road he got on, but I stayed out of the way.
Yeah, so like, you know, this I mean, I can explain more at another time, but just to be clear, I'm not sure who's out there who's dealing with something, right? But I started an organization called We Have MS, and it was everyone was just like, "What do you mean we have MS?" But I was trying to explain to people that if you're my friend now and you're around me almost 16 hours or 10 hours out of the day, you have to know what my ailments are in order to take care of me if something were to happen. So that being said, my friend or my new colleague has MS too. We have MS together. So we all have to like take the responsibility, yes, but we have to have our friends be responsible too. And if
so
you have a friend,
wait. What are you saying? That people that you associated with have it? Or
No,
you're
I'm saying
they're supposed to take on your thing?
No, I told you I started wehavems.org years ago when I filmed you in Boston. I was saying the title of that We Have MS is because a person that has MS has friends. If I'm out with my friends, they have to know that I'm dealing with this ailment, because there's certain times of the day that I might have to sit down. There's certain things that might be happening.
Okay, but let me say this to people who are listening. 1, there's 5 different categories with MS. 2, your personality also comes into it. 3, up until just recently when I retired and healthy, walked out of the office healthy. But it depends on the individual. So I don't want what you're saying to apply to everyone who might be out there who has MS. A lot has to do with your personality. I found that when I went back,
I think
I'm
you're
very private.
My point.
And when I went back to work, I was out of work for 5 months. I was paralyzed from the waist down when I was hit with it. And I won't go into all the detail, but over a period of time, over an 18-month period, you know, I was walking again. I did a lot of changing. I stayed away from dairy, no Pepsi, no Coca-Cola, all those additives and a lot of the junk that they sell in the stores. Got rid of it. And so, you know, I don't want everybody to think that all your friends, I was very private. I announced at the office because I was so private, I didn't want that stress. I was saying, why was I walking with a cane sometime? Why was, you know, this or that or the other happening? And I really didn't go, I gave one full definition of what it was. I was very outspoken about it. So don't make up the term if you forget. Just come and ask me. And beyond that, as time went on, because it's been 20 years for me having MS, I found that to try and describe things to people is very, very difficult, and it would just take my energy. So I came up with personal things like, well, you know, like, you know what, you know how kryptonite bothers us, Superman? Yeah. I said, well, high heats is what kryptonite does to Superman heat can do to me. And if you don't have a regimen for how you eat. So I'm gonna stay quiet there.
Thank you. So guys, I'm gonna Sekou, how much you, okay, go ahead. You good, Sekou?
I'm good. No, I'm good. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so everybody, I want to share with you a quick PowerPoint. So there we go.
The gentleman I'm seeing in the football shirt.
Oh, that's brother Larry. That's Larry Bennigan. He's a friend of mine, and also he has a company called Exodus for Life, which is a nutritional workout company.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just gonna just a quick thing. This is Cook to Live, classes during COVID-19 with FUNMILAYO, keynote speaker Eric Adams, borough president. He wasn't here, but you know, at least he sent someone from his office. It was very made it. So my aim for this workshop is how can I build my immune system this flu season? And the reason I'm focusing on the flu because I know that, you know, it's coming up and we just have to be really, I think, let's try to build our immune system. So that's my focus for today. And my quote is, eat your food as your medicines. Otherwise, you have to eat medicine as your food. How does that resonate with anyone? How does that resonate with you? Can anyone chime in?
Yes. This is Paul Babel.
Hi, Paul.
I've had my face all covered up because I'm in a semi-public space.
Okay.
And it resonates with me, and this topic is very important to me right now because my youngest son is special needs, and he's 29 years old. He lives in a group setting. He's with the same people all day long. They don't let him go out to the day program anymore, where he was seeing people from many different boroughs. But I never, you know, even though he's special needs, in a wheelchair, quadriplegic, I have never given him the flu shot. I've never given myself the flu shot or my other son, who is well-bodied. But this year, they just asked me today whether I wanted to give him the flu shot. And I said, no. That's my automatic response. But then I just got off the phone with my brother, and he's saying that you can get flu and COVID. And my son, well, many of his caregivers are coming from the areas where the caseload of COVID is high. And on top of that, my special needs son, he had pneumonia, I think twice within the last 3 years. And the last time he had pneumonia, it was so bad they wrapped his body up and they put his whole torso on a machine that shook him. It sounded so loud when you went in there, and it made him cough. And now that we're dealing with COVID, I can't give him the special foods or the home remedies I gave him whenever he was sick. Before, the doctors never had to give him their medicine there. I always gave him things. But now I can't, because I'm only able to see him once a week outdoors. And I don't want to get too close to him because of COVID.
God. Thanks for sharing. Does anyone else? How does this resonate with you? Eat your food as your medicines. Otherwise, you have to eat medicines as food.
Yeah.
I want to say something to that.
Who is that?
Larry.
Hey, Larry, how you doing?
Good. Hi, this is Larry with Exodus for Life Wellness, faith-based wellness company, and that resonates with me so profoundly because I always, I'm a follower of Dr. Sebi, and a lot of his teachings, they talk about eating to live. You don't live to eat, and I've always talked about just having food be preventative medicine rather than medicine, that you'll have to take, to replenish the imbalance in our bodies that obviously we're doing when we're ingesting junk. So that one quote alone, if you just keep it in your mind and keep it simple. Just real quick, I have one story. I don't know if everybody knows. I was once connected to a woman. She just, God bless her soul. She just passed away from breast cancer, and she, was very similar to what Fumi is doing now. And everything was centered around eating the right plant-based diet that's for you, which will cure anything. So everybody that's on this call, in terms of social, emotional, and physical, food is 90% of our wellness, moving forward, of operating at our highest capacity.
Thanks for sharing. Anybody else? And then I'll continue.
I just wanted to say one thing, because I actually do take medication a lot because I received a transplant.
Yes.
So I would say basically based off of that is that you don't want any type of dependency, because I feel for me, even though my case is kind of rare, I still in my mind have a goal to not depend on, science, but rather just depend on what we have here on the planet. You know what I mean? Like what was given to us to live that wholesome and wellness life, and I feel that the food that we were given is the original medicine, So I mean, we're blessed to have the science, but we don't want to be so dependent upon it that we're not actually allowing God's given his life here to give us life. So that's what I would say. That resonates for me the most.
Perfect. Aisha.
I just wanted to say one quick thing.
Yeah.
Moms, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but I've noticed that African Americans, Black people on the whole, and it came from our cultural upbringing, that when we get sick, we don't want to tell people.
Yeah.
We want to talk about it.
Exactly.
And sometimes speaking to one person can come up with a remedy or something that could help you.
I agree.
We keep it to ourselves. And when I think about Chadwick Boseman and how he kept his colon cancer hidden, I have a nephew who is surviving colon cancer.
My brother
Refused to take chemotherapy, and the system is built in such a way. When he told the doctor, the oncologist, that he's not going to take the chemotherapy, they practically put him out.
Yeah, they get upset. They get upset.
Yes, They told him that he's wasting their time. And one of the things that my nephew said to me, and he doesn't have a law degree, he doesn't have any degrees. He listened to him. He's a Marine, ex-Marine. He said to the oncologist, "You're putting on all this hazard suit, this hazmat suit, to give this drug to me. What is it doing to my body when you're protecting yourself like this?" And the man had no answer. The man got indignant and he put him out. And today, my nephew is alive. He went plant-based, cold turkey. He did it like a Marine.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't know they had to wear a hazmat suit. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
you know,
That suit. Yep.
can I share one thing real quick? I will share with Fumi so she can share it with everybody else. I wish I had the link with me now, but ultimately, you know, stay away from doctors. Period. All right. You know, because
I think we should go to them for diagnoses. We should go to them if we have an emergency, like we had a car accident, a fire, something really emergency, but we should really work on building our immune system, and that's really what we're talking about here. Go ahead, Larry.
Yes, absolutely. I said it very boldly in terms of staying away from doctors, but you know, there was an old cliche that everybody say, you know, eat an apple a day and keep the doctor away. Right? And that, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, I'm sorry, the woman's late name that it eludes me, that has a son that had colon cancer. Doctors are practicing physicians, so everything that they're doing is by trial. Like, you know, like
That's right.
they'll look up in a book and they'll say, okay, this doctor tried this particular treatment, so we'll try it on this case, right? They don't know for sure, but one thing is for certain: if you find, you know, the different enzymes in the earth that your body needs that's lacking, you know, it's good to get probably, you know, cancer markers, diagnosis, like Fumi said, so you have an idea, so you know where you're at, you know. But ultimately, the same information that these doctors are getting, we have. So we, you know, in terms of, taking, the one woman says she's taking a medication that she has to at this point. You know, they have herbal, holistic alternatives, because everything that these doctors are giving to us has a natural property in it.
Right. I like to piggyback off of what you said, Audrey Amsterdam, about culturally how we've been trained not to speak upon stuff that happens to us physically or mentally. They just say go to the church or don't say anything. And what I'm trying to, like with my mom, as you saw the back and forth, we come from different thought processes, I think. I'm at a place where I understand that Chadwick needed to keep that personal. However, I'm a little bit upset that he didn't use that platform at the same time to show other Black men and women, but Black men that are dealing with cancer, colon cancer at 43, how to go about dealing with this. We just heard about all of the things he did while he was suffering, but we didn't know about what he was doing to combat it. And that's the thing for me. I'm a solution-based dude where we have MS. It's about, yes, letting people know what is going on with me, letting them know, hey, I can't do this on my own. We need a support system. We do. I need all of you to help me and vice versa. And that's what it comes down to. It's like we can't be so afraid to be like, you know what, this is what I got. I need help. But we're so afraid. We're so afraid of the judgment. And I'm just like, there's no more judgment. We're just trying to live.
Yes.
So that's all.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to move on. So there are 4 steps to wellness: education, prevention, intervention, practice. These are the 4. And quickly, I'm going to go into the education. I believe that fruits and vegetables should be a large part of our diet. It has been proven time and time again. It would mean improved health for you and your family. Food is essential, so we must be aware to break the cycle of hereditary diseases that run in our family by simply changing our lifestyle. All elements of nutrition can be found in fruits, vegetables, and grains. The fact is, saliva is alkaline. The fact is, water dilutes gastric juices in the stomach. There is perfect law and order in our system. And when we violate these, we tend to suffer the consequences. Every 7 years, all the cells in the body are renewed. So at the age of 14, our cells are two. If we eat dead flesh, cooked foods, drink alcohol, etc., we are contributing to the death of our cells. So that when they are renewed, they are weaker. By the time we are 35 to 40, we start feeling the effects of our diets. Some people even sooner. Our diet affects us even in everything we do. It affects our moods. It affects how we feel. It affects our weight. It affects our health. Our diet affects us even if we started at birth with a weak constitution. The body is an amazing organ. If we can live for years addicted to heroin and crack, then could you imagine what it can do if we really started taking care of it? There are 16 important elements in the bloodstream. When one is missing, disease begins. So in reference to this, we have 5 major eliminative organs. We have many others, but the 5 main ones are skin, the liver, the kidney, the lungs, and the colon. The skin is the largest elimination organ. And one way to clear out the skin is to use a dry bristle brush. A dry bristle brush, every day you brush upwards towards the heart. Before
Yes.
you go to the shower, you brush upwards with a dry bristle. Make sure it's a natural bristle, dry bristle. And then what this does, it activates your lymphatic system. Then what you do, you go into the shower and you take a hot bath and then a cold bath, then a hot bath, then a cold bath, then a hot bath, then a cold bath. Especially when you're fighting something, that's what you're going to do. This is going to activate things to exit your body. It's a detoxification. That's simply brushing your body, simply going in, taking a shower, and after your hot shower, you let the water go as cold as you can. You do that 3 times and then you jump out. This is a wonderful way to clear out your largest organ. Another way is obviously saunas, steam room, exercise. These are all things that activate our largest organ. So the skin is definitely very important for us to focus on. Everything that goes in the skin. So if you are fighting a disease right now, you should be looking even at the detergent that you're using, because the detergents have chemicals in it. You should be looking at anything that you put close to your skin. You should be looking at the deodorant. What is in your deodorant? You should be looking at dyes. What are you dyeing your hair with? You shouldn't be dyeing your hair at all. You shouldn't be putting on nail polish, or you shouldn't be using any chemicals on the outside of your body if you're dealing with an issue. You should be, completely getting yourself completely cleared of that. Any questions so far in reference to this? Okay, another important organ is the liver. The liver, helps us to detox, and so the liver is another very major organ. It's actually the organ that holds everything in your body that's not leaving. So, for example, it's everything. It holds everything in your body that's not leaving. So, for example, if you're on medication, your body will naturally get rid of it through your kidneys, but a lot of it is left back into your liver. A lot of it is left there. So there's ways that you can clear out your liver on a daily basis. My favorite way is warm water, lemon, apple cider vinegar, cayenne pepper, a little olive oil. Once you add the olive oil to this mix, you've activated your liver, and you're helping your body to clear out your liver. And also your kidneys. This is a liver. Kidneys is another very important organ in the body that if we clear out on a regular, it will allow and help to maintain a very strong immune system. We have the lungs. How can we clear out our lungs? As you know, breathing is very important, breathing clean air, going out into the country, exercising, doing breathing exercises, yoga. Any of these things will help clear out the lungs. And of course, we're going to be talking about herbs and things like that that can help to do that as well. The colon, there's a book by Dr. Hulda Clark. It's called The Cure for Cancer. And this book, Dr. Hilda Clark, it says that everyone can colon. We all have good bacteria and bad bacteria. And they simultaneously live in the same location. And very important that the balance of the alkaline acid in the colon is maintained. If it's not maintained, we're going to have a lot of issues. Some of the issues that we're going to have: constipation, diarrhea, or another important thing, you can actually be anemic if your colon is not working correctly. The foods that we eat, all of the nutrients that we eat is absorbed through the colon, the lining of the colon is absorbed there. So if your lining of your colon is laced with mucus, it's going to be very hard for your nutrients to be absorbed. So the key, so that your body can get all the nutrients that you're taking, the key is to clear out your colon. Do not eat foods that will create mucus on the lining of your colon that will stop your body from absorbing the nutrients of the good food that you're putting in it. So that's one thing that I know for sure, because I for one time in my life I dealt with being constipated, and I had to deal with that and take care of it. And it's something that I'm always aware of. If you're going to eat 3 meals a day, you really should be going to the bathroom for colonic irrigations 3 times a day. Because if you're not, you've got, at the end of the week, after going to the bathroom 7 times, you've got 14 meals left back. Where did the meals go? They get reabsorbed back into your bloodstream after 48 hours, depending on your metabolism. And you can test how fast your metabolism is by using dyes or beet. You can drink some beet juice and just wait to see how long it takes to exit your body. And that's how your metabolism is. If it exits your body after 3 days, this is a problem. It should, that's what tells you what's going on with your metabolism. So in reference to your colon, it's very important to watch it like a hawk. Make sure that when you go to the bathroom, you look back to see what the hell happened. What does it look like? What's the color? What's the smell? Very important. So that's the key to your health right there. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna move on.
One question, when you were talking about the mixture, the warm for the liver, the warm water, vinegar, and olive oil.
Okay, it's 8-ounce glass of warm water. Half a lemon.
Oh, okay.
A tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Cayenne pepper. Olive oil.
Okay.
And this can be switched around depending on what's going on. Like right now, because I'm concerned about flu and COVID, and I work with education, I work with kids, and I don't get the flu because I'm very confident of what I'm doing, that my immune system is strong. So basically, right around this time, because I know it's flu season, in this mix, I will add other things. I will add aloe vera. I will add oil of oregano. Any of those things, golden.
That's the stuff I need to be writing down, but I drink.
That I will add to that. Okay. I'm gonna move on, okay? Any questions on this? Anything so far? Any questions? Any questions?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. Okay, we're gonna meditate right now. We've been listening to a lot of information, and okay.
FUNMILAYO, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have a question and a statement. My son who's special needs, I have to be very careful that he doesn't get constipated, because constipation, I've heard it on the radio too, that it affects the nervous system.
Yes.
He's epileptic. He will have seizures if he's constipated.
Yes, you cannot be constipated. Also, if you have Alzheimer's, if you have any kind of autoimmune disease, it's very important that your kidneys cleared out. Okay, so for
But
meditation,
I have a question about the kidneys,
yes.
because of the connection, particularly with the kidneys, to diabetes, and there's a lot in my family. I didn't really get the notes on what to do to keep the kidneys clean.
Okay, so I'm gonna send that to you, okay? But it's
Okay.
liver kidney flush that we do, and that's I will write it in the chats, okay?
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna do a little meditation, everybody. Let's do you're gonna take, stand up, and you can still shake it out, shake, 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 shake. Raise your hands up high. Slowly down.
Oh, what did I do?
Inhale up. Inhale for 5. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale.
Yeah. Oh.
Inhale. Exhale. I'm gonna close your eyes, everyone, and I want you to think of a place where you go and everybody go. Thank you. Okay, so you go to that place that gives you calm, that gives you peace. I'm gonna count to 10. I'm gonna take you out of that place. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thanks for doing that. And how does that feel to just take a moment and breathe and go to somewhere that gives you peace? Can anyone tell me how it makes you feel?
Well, I do that every morning
Okay.
between 5:30 and 6 a.m. Do
Got
my breathing,
Okay.
and you generally blow out slowly, like if I'm blowing a feather,
Okay.
and then just silence for a good 10 to 15 minutes.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So maybe it's good.
Yes.
Well, when I really get deep into it, it's like diving into a swimming pool
Yes.
and swimming a little bit and coming back up.
Mm-hmm.
Everything just falls off of you.
Yeah.
Turn off your
I hear something that sounds like an airplane.
Yeah. What is that?
Does anybody else hear it?
yeah.
Yes, I hear it. Like a swishing sound.
Somebody probably is driving.
Oh, okay, maybe that's it. Okay. All right, so there's 16. I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint. There's 16. The reason why it's so okay, so this is my philosophy. My philosophy is
What is that? That sound again?
can everybody check here, see if you're on mute, please? See if
I'm not on mute.
no, you need to put yourself on mute. Yeah. Okay, you did, but I couldn't hear it. Is everybody on mute? What is that? Anyways, I'm not gonna start getting distracted. Sorry. So there's 16 essential minerals in the blood that we have to maintain. So I would say when you go for your checkup, find out what all your levels are for your minerals. Find out, and if you're dealing with cancer, find out what your estrogen level is. But anyway, they're calcium, sodium, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, chloride, magnesium, iron, zinc, copper, manganese, iodine, selenium, molybdenum, I can't even say that word, chromium. So these elements, it's in the blood. So basically, when you eat white rice, white flour, or white sugar products, you are leaching these 16 minerals from your blood. You're leaching them because the white flour, because it's processed, the white sugar, because it's processed, the body is really not reading it well. So as you're going for a number 1 and number 2, you're being leached. So the key to building up your immune system is to get these minerals back into your blood. So you go for a checkup, find out what
Let you turn it off.
But
I
guess
have to turn this off.
what? Yes. What is that noise? So you check your levels, and that's how you know. I'm so sorry about the noise in the background, guys. I don't know
You
what that.
have the power to put everyone on mute.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to get off the PowerPoint, right? Participant.
Oh, it stinks. Can't spray that out. I know she'd be glad when she leave. And big deal. Let your mama
Okay, it's gone. I don't know what happened, but it's gone. Did you hear that? Everybody is gone. Still on. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna go back to the screen. I'm gonna mute everyone because I think that was a problem. Oh, great. There we go. Okay. So my philosophy is that as your body starts losing these important minerals, that's when disease begins. So the key is to just really try to make sure that you can replace everything. How do you replace everything? That's what we're about to do. We're going to get into the kitchen next week and the following week, and through the kitchen we will replace them. But some of the things that I can tell you right now that can help replace: number 1, seaweeds. Seaweeds have all of these minerals that's in the blood, that appears in the blood naturally. The most important sea vegetable is Irish moss, because Irish moss has 92 of the 104 minerals in our blood. Irish moss is one of the most important sea vegetables that you can add to your diet if you're in the process, if you're in a disease state and you feel that you need to replenish everything, because once you replenish everything, the healing begins. Sea vegetables are an excellent source of minerals, high quality proteins, enzymes, vitamins, and they are full of antioxidants. Sea vegetables have an alkalizing effect and help detoxify the body. Research has shown sea vegetables to be beneficial for treating cancer, heart disease, hypertension, MS, radioactive heavy metal, detoxification, inflammation, joint pain, antiviral properties, and proper functioning of the thyroid. Any questions on that? Anyone?
You said Irish moss has 102 of the 140?
2 of the 102 in the blood.
And how many do we need?
We need them all, but the 16 essential ones are the ones that is listed right here.
But Irish moss has almost all of them?
Has all of them.
Oh, it has all of them.
It has not almost all of them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
91 of the 101 minerals that
It
the body has.
it has them all. So that's why I say go to that particular food source. That will help us. Okay, the practice. The practice is we plan as a vegetarian for so many years. The key is you have to have a serious plan. You have to learn how to multitask. You have to plan your meals out. Then you have to purchase them. You have to figure out where you're going to buy them. You have to get all the right resources. So, for example, check co-ops. You have to farmers market makes use of the farmers market because you're going to try to get fresh organic foods. You're going to have to learn how to prepare them so that you can keep the nutrients in the food so you're not cooking it out. You have to have consistency. Consistency. You cannot decide you're going to do it and then stop doing it. How will you see the results? Intermittent fasting, very important to do in the process of healing, because when your body is healing, it doesn't need to be digesting a whole lot of food. It needs to be healing, it needs to be detoxing, and it needs to be cleansing. And so eating intermittently means that when you start your day, you're starting with the liver kidney flush. Then the next thing you do may be a vegetable juice or a smoothie. And we're going to talk about all this when we go into the cooking next week. So intermittent fasting, very important when you're in the process of trying to get if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to get rid of a disease, any of those things. Intermittent fasting is the best way. And then the next thing is celebrate your progress whenever you're oh yeah, I'm sorry. Regular checkups for diagnosis, very important. Celebrate your progress, very important. Okay. So any questions on that? Anyone?
Can you give an example of intermittent fasting?
Yes, intermittent fasting. You start eating at 2 o'clock and you end your eating at 10 o'clock. So you're eating for from 2 to 10. And then when you wake up, you're doing your fasting. And your fasting doesn't have to be lack of food. It could just be lack of certain foods, like not, no fats or no, breads and things like that. You start your day. And the best time to do your cleansing is after a fast, which is when you went to sleep. So you fast by doing your liver kidney flush, which will alkalize your system and clear it out. The liver kidney flush is comparable to going into your bathroom and cleaning it out, or cleaning your toilet bowl, with whatever you use to clean that. So though that flush, that's what it's doing, is clearing your system, and to prepare it for food. And then after you do your flush, I would say do something else that's nutrition, but doesn't have to be that you're eating it. You could be drinking it. It could be a smoothie. I suggest 4 to 6 servings of fruit a day. And so that means that in your smoothie, you have 4 to 6 servings of fruit. And I suggest 6 to 8 servings of vegetables a day. So when you first start your first meal, which would be like, if it's 2 o'clock, that's your lunch, you should have at least 4 vegetables in that meal. And in your dinner, you should have at least 4 vegetables in that dinner. And whatever else you eat, just try to, make it a lot of variety. You don't have to stick to the same things over and over again. Variety is the key.
Fumi, so you're saying 2 p.m. to 10 p.m.?
Yes, 2 p.m. 10 p.m. you're eating. But if it's, obviously if it's, I think in the winter months, you might want to switch that to where you're eating maybe like from 12 to 8. Because once the sun goes down, you don't really want to be eating too much food, because then,
right.
You know what I mean? Then your whole metabolism shuts down, and you're not going as much as in the earlier parts. But I recommend this if you're trying to lose weight. I recommend this during this time of COVID. During this time of COVID, we don't need to be eating a whole lot of food. The body just don't need to be eating too much, digesting too much stuff. It just needs to clear out, and whatever stuff it does eat, it has to nourish your cells immediately. If you find yourself craving sugar, it means that your cells are starving. There's something that you're doing that your cells are starving. You should not be craving sugar. Sugar is a killer. Sugar during COVID is not the thing to do, because it creates an acidic system, and the acidity, disease love to thrive in acidity. if your system is alkaline, disease will not be able to live. It will die. Let's see, what else is there? I think. Okay, thank you for watching. Go to my website, www.cooktolive.org, IG page, www.cooktolivehealth. My email is cooktolive485@gmail.com. And I just want to have the floor for Aisha, who came in late. You guys need to hear her amazing story. Aisha, you have the floor. Can't hear you. Can't hear. Okay, maybe she'll come back in. All right. Okay, thanks everybody that
Thank you.
said. I mean, I know this is very quick. There's a lot of more information. I did what I can do. I need for you to tell me, what is it that you learned? How, are you going to join the cooking classes next week and the following week? And so we can get into the business of how do we do this from the kitchen.
Well, for me personally, I'm so tied up in the voter registration thing now. My schedule is crazy.
Okay.
So,
you're not gonna be able to
this
come.
is not the last time you're gonna have the classes, right?
No, well, having next week is we're in the kitchen cooking. So next week,
Yeah.
I'll be cooking and I'll give you the recipe and we'll share some other important facts.
Okay, I would like to do this.
Yeah.
Aisha is saying that her signal is bad. Aisha is saying her signal is bad. I saw a little square box on the screen with her name on it, and it said signal bad.
Yeah, I see that. Okay. Oh, there she goes. Somebody's coming in. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, Aisha?
Oh, she's still on mute. That's it. I'm seeing that she's still on mute.
You're on mute.
Tell her unmute herself.
She's probably going to try to come back in.
But she's on mute.
Hello.
Hey. There you go.
Are you guys talking to me?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. No.
Yes.
What I
Okay.
was saying was I typed 2 messages and I said that I was hopping on someone else's phone because my signal's bad.
Got it.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with my phone, but I was trying to say the whole time, I was like, it's my mom's phone that keeps making that noise. Can you mute her? Can you mute? I was like, no one can hear me. I'm so sorry about that, but thank God for my friend Soshiba. Thank you, God. Okay, so
do your thing.
All right. So so nice to be on here. It's such an honor and a privilege, first of all. And I admire every single person's feedback and their knowledge is amazing. Fumi has been such an important person in my life since I first moved to New York. I'm from Flint, Michigan, and I moved here in 2014. It's so crazy because as I was moving and I was preparing in 2013, I remember I was watching, I actually am a former member of Fuchsia Dance. And I remember I was looking at different community, different classes to be a part of in the community, in addition to other ones that I knew about from former training and Congolese style dance. And I remember I heard someone, and she was talking about healing vibrations, and healing caught my ear. Because at that time I knew I was battling with something, but I didn't know what. And it was very extreme. And so I was looking and I was like, wherever that class is, I want that class. And the whole thing was, we know it was so God, because I ended up not only being in her class, but being a part of her company. So it was God's sin and it was meant. And I was listening to her in Michigan, and then I end up with her in New York City. Okay. So in 2014, when I met Fumi, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And I remember I came to her as well, and I was telling her, this was, I'm trying to think if this was before or after I was diagnosed, but I just remember that I was in such pain, like such egregious pain. I mean, I can't even go back that far to explain the depth of it and how intense it was. I just know it, to express the feeling, it was almost like if there were a monster with claws inside of my guts, just like chopping everything up, you know what I mean? And so I remember I was mentioning it to her and I was in tears because I was in so much pain. And I remember Fumi was like, oh my God, because she's a very, as you know, caring and loving person. And so she was like, oh, this is what you need to do. And I remember she gave me the book by Elaine Gottschall, Breaking the Vicious Cycle. And, you know, and she was like, you have to marry this book. You have to adjust to this lifestyle. However, the thing is that I didn't realize, because I was misdiagnosed when I was younger, because I was young and I was healthy. So I was told, I had signals years ago, but I didn't realize what I was dealing with. And so at that point, it was actually too late for me to even try to adapt, even though I did try to, but I was still just like, you know, experiencing pretty much like the final symptoms of when you need to have like basically an emergency surgery. Because what was happening was my intestines were getting ready to explode. So at that point, it was like, even if I did make a transition, it wasn't going to do it. You know what I mean? I was like at the very final stage. And so I remember like me trying to make changes, but next thing I know was bedbound. Next thing I know, I couldn't eat anything. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, my mom is in New York and rushing me to the hospital and I like pass out, you know what I mean? And then I had to have a colostomy bag. And so I remember with the colostomy, you know, that's a totally different life and you have to adjust to a whole new everything. And just because you have a new body, you have a new, you know, if for those who may not know what a colostomy bag is, it's when there's an incision that's made in the abdomen and the waist. Pretty much what they do is they cut like the swollen part of because it's actually inflamed, not swollen. So what happens is they like cut to relieve the pressure and inflammation. So it's almost like it's cut in half, and then they open up a hole in the incision and some of the intestine is out so it can heal. And so I had treatment called Remicade, and I did that for about 3 years. And I remember that at a certain point, I was supposed to have everything reversed because it was temporary. However, something that happened that made those doctors hesitant, and they were actually right, was that they were like, okay, they kept postponing the reversal surgery. And it was because they saw that I was swelling and my feet were swelling, which was a sign of which they were saying of blood clots. And they were actually accurate because it was so frustrating. You know, as a working artist, you know, we have work that's not always, you know, it's not like a 9 to 5. So I would have to cancel that and then try to figure out, what am I going to do now? You know, I was expecting to be hospitalized. But at the top of 2017, probably in March, I went into a coma, and it was due to blood clots, one that went from the heart to the lungs and then to my intestine. And as a result, after 2 months, I woke up without an entire intestine, because what happened was the blood clot had gotten there and then there was no flow. So then it completely died. So they had to remove my entire colon. And so basically, what does that mean if you don't have a colon? Everything that she mentioned about the colon, everything that it does, because it's literally a channel of nutrients, a channel of everything. It actually controls your mental health. It controls everything. It's very spiritual. It's like it does everything for us, right? It's actually the door opener for a lot of behavioral diagnoses and mental psychosis as well, because it controls the climate of the body and everything. But anyway, I didn't have that. And so when you don't have that, you have to do a man-made treatment. And that's called TPN, temporary parenteral nutrients, which I did that for about 2.5 years. And that treatment consists of a central line, which I had, a central line, and I had to do it at home every day for 14 to 16 hours every day. Now, without that, there's no digestion, which also means that there's no food. So I did not eat also for 2 years as well.
It's called TPN.
T as in Tiffany, P as in Peter, N as in Nancy. So yeah, TPN, temporary parenteral nutrients.
You know what I'm asking? Because there's a friend's daughter who is living in Staten Island, who is now, how do you say, basically everything you're describing is what she's going through right now. I am so glad I'm in this class tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
because
Jesus.
I'm gonna, yeah.
It's a rare thing. Like for me, it was a very, I mean,
wow.
That's not even all, but I'm trying to like make it as brief as possible because I know it's late.
Yeah, we're out of time, but I'm gonna give you some. Go ahead.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm close to wrapping it up. So basically I lived with that for about 2.5 years or so without treatment. So that means that if you're connected to this pump that's pumping in man-made treatment for 16 hours or so, give or take, you have what, 4 to 5 hours to do anything in the day if you want to go out, you know what I mean? Like it was seemingly restrictive and very much of a tackle. What really got me through the most of it was my spirituality and believing like, listen, I don't care what's going on. This is not my life. You know, I would look at myself in the mirror every day and say, no, this is only temporary. It's going to allow me to blend in with other people and be relatable. And so another thing that got me through was with my church family. We're based on the arts, the rock churches worldwide. We made a decision to go into the hospitals and to sing and to, you know, give them words of inspiration. And because I knew how it felt to be a patient, because it was so hard. Oh my God, it was such a challenge. And that was just the first time, you know, when I was hospitalized and, you know, went through that trauma. I had a new journey from one hospital to another one. And I was blessed to go to another one because I actually wasn't going to make it at the first one. And I remember at this time, I actually wasn't in contact with FUNMILAYO because I was in such critical condition at this time. I know I didn't have I wasn't able to speak to anyone. I was like a vegetable and they didn't think that I was going to make it. But the doctor said there is one way that she could. He was like, it's rare, but I know, and I have friends that specialize in this new science and technology. And if she can get well enough, we can transfer her there and they can make change her life around. And by the grace of God, I literally did just enough where I was able to transfer to the Mount Sinai Hospital. And when I went there, that was a whole new journey because that's when I was introduced to the intestinal transplant, which first of all, who even knew that existed? Okay. I never heard of that in my entire life. I was like, I had no clue about. Even to this day, there's some doctors that have no idea. And that's because my doctors and surgeons are revolutionary. They are spreading global awareness about this to the medical science and research community, science and technology research community globally. And they're showing them, one of them through their project called Lift Echo, they're showing the world, listen, I know you don't believe us. I know you feel like it's a myth, but we have patients that have actually survived. And by God's grace, I am one of them because I've seen people in my situation pass away. Many friends I've seen perish, but by God's grace, I was able to make it through. You know what I mean? Wow. Because it's so specific. It's very tricky. I mean, I actually had one transplant that I did for 2 weeks. And then after that, it didn't work. It's very spiritual. It's a very spiritual thing. It's very much, it's based on your anatomy. And also, obviously, it's a match, but it's also heavily based on the anatomy and your frame. So it takes a very selfless person to be willing to donate their child, I will say. You know, it's very, very particular. It's like a 15-hour surgery. It's very, very specific and tedious, and the recovery takes a lot of time. I mean, honestly, it blows my mind that I'm thinking, wow, I'm actually eating this year when it just happened last year.
Wow.
I'm like, my mind is blown away. I'm like, oh my God, God is so good. Like, I can't believe this was just last year where I wasn't eating it. You know, like it's like alien, you know, it's so spectacular. But anyway, when I got back there, that's when I got reconnected with Fumi, and she was able to find me. She was like, oh my God, thank God I found you. I was going crazy because, you know, everyone else had my phone. She was like, oh my God, I'm so happy you're okay. But anyway, I started to do my research then. It was just like she said, forming a plan. And that's the key. And so even though I wasn't even eating, for me, I said, no, I need to do the research now, because the moment that miracle comes, I'm going to make that transition. And so that was what it was for me. And it's because of that specific entity, and it's such a, you know, a new phenomena. For me, it may not be wise for me to just immediately shift, but I do take like my diet seriously in terms of like, okay, I am plant-based, period. Okay. Now, in terms of medications, I do take that, you know, by God's grace, I've lowered it down, you know, but even in that, I have to be really careful to make sure that, you know, I branch off, and it's, you know, you just have to taper off accordingly because it's so delicate. But my goal is to be drug-free. And so that's why for me, it's so important for the knowledge that Fumi has given me about every organ, how it's important, like to be aware of your body, to know your body, to do the research about, okay, these are the foods that I can actually do this. Like I'll send her things all the time. How do you feel about this? Don't do that. Don't do the plant-based powders. Don't do that. I'm like, okay, perfect. I won't do that. Just because for me, it's a priority. If I'm disease-free, why would I open the door and the channel and the portal to disease? Yeah. If I've been through all of that, right? Like who would want, after going through all of those things, who would want to open any possible door of going back to disease? Going back, yeah. So that's why for me, I'm like, nope, I'm doing it right. And then something else, and I'll close off with this, that's why I know it's so spiritual, is because, you know, when I officially made those changes was when I turned 28 last year. And every 7 years, we are reborn.
Yes.
Every 7 years, our cells are recycled.
That's right.
So if you divide your years by 7, that's how old your cells are. So to me, that represented a new fresh start and an age going in at 4 years old with a new fresh, you know, awakening and, you know, a new body, a new everything. So for me, I'm like, it's not even about appearance. It's about, how do I feel? You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think it's wrong for people to want to eat for the physical appearance. That's fine. But for me, it's more so about, how do I feel? Once I can get that in alignment, then maybe we can go to, okay, I want to add more weight here. I want to do that. But I'm interested in doing what God wants me to do. And that's really, our body will talk to us and say, you know, that thing you just did, I don't like that. Don't do that. You know what I mean? So I've been really blessed to have, you know, Fumi, who has guided me along the way and, you know, just giving me all the knowledge. She's amazing. And that's it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. One thing, that it is a spiritual journey. I have a co-worker whose son didn't make it after the transplant. Crohn's disease is not an easy disease. And I believe that God had a hand in it, because very few survive. And
it's very true.
Survive. So you want to keep your spirit strong.
Okay, I want to go and I want to just share really quickly because I need to exit because I have another meeting in about 10 minutes. Sekou, just one thing that you learned from this thing, and one thing that you will move forward to do. One thing you learned from this workshop, and one thing that you will take into the real world. And
what I learned from this workshop is, I guess, about community and about relating to other people's stories and understanding what people have to say and how everything is connected, even though we might be fighting different things.
Yes.
From a nutritional standpoint, I just like the fact that how I organically met you and your crew, and how I train you in the mornings, and then how you get back to me.
Everyone.
Huh?
I'm telling everyone this is my trainer.
Oh yeah. So like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I mean, I have accreditation for training, but I do triathlons, so I know a lot about working out. And it just so happens that Fumi and her teacher and friend Kaleba saw me and my partner working out every day
Nice.
in the morning, and then they approached us, and then that's how we started this business, and yada yada yada. So now it's been, I guess, going on a month. It'll be a month next week, every day though,
Yes.
of her and her friend getting snatched, literally snatched by us, like getting in great shape and having fun. But at the same time, what I want to say about the cooking side is that I've always been aware of nutrition, but I haven't been dialed in like she's dialed in. And so, like earlier, people laugh when I said I just drank it, but literally, I trust her. I don't ask questions. I just want to get healthy, and so that.
Yes.
I
He's
just want to
like, I
get
don't even know
healthy.
what it is.
Great.
Sorry. I'm sorry. It's funny. I feel the
Yeah,
same
I'm
way.
shaking my head.
I've been through 15 years of like fighting MS and like I'm trying to understand foods and coming up with like 4 items that I can really enjoy and make. And now she's teaching me how I can have like a plethora of meals, which is just, I love food, you know what I mean? So that's I'm happy about that.
Thanks, Seiko. Now, Fatha? Yes. Michelle? Yeah, you're muted. You're muted. On mute. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. Pata, yes.
What I learned about was that Irish moss was so healthy, and I used to drink it all the time, and I used to drink it at least 5 times a week, and now I haven't had it for 2 years or even longer. So I am going to start drinking that Irish moss, and I love it. I'm going to be very happy and healthier. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So who's next? Audrey, what did you learn from this and what would you take away?
You know, I learned that when I listened to Siku, is it, am I calling the name? Seku. It's a very theatrical name. And the other young lady?
Aisha.
Aisha?
Yes.
It makes me get a little bit more motivated because I'm a flip-flopper and Fumi knows it. I go, 1 week I'm vegetarian, the next week I'm eating something. So I got to do a little better when I listen to what you guys been through and pull it through on a vegetarian meal. I mean, I've been eating this stuff for many, many years. I can't give it up. I really can't. I'm motivated to do better, period.
And everybody, Audrey's my aunt. Yeah. Okay, so what did you learn about this?
I learned a lot about, Crohn's disease, and also MS, and thank you both for sharing, something so personal.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference because I don't suffer from it, but I know people who do. So it just gave me a window of like how bad it gets when it gets bad. And I didn't know it got that bad. So that was something that I learned.
Well,
about Crohn's.
What you're gonna do every
And what I would take away is like reminding me to put my Dulse seaweed, like and sprinkle it in everything.
Yeah.
And I was more ritual about it, and I stopped doing it. Just so when I made my dinner, sprinkled it, and then adding the liver flush in the morning.
Yeah.
And adding it to my morning ritual because I already have a morning ritual, and I'm like, well, I just can't. There's no reason why I can't add this as well. So
perfect. And Lynette.
Yes. Hi. I just want to thank you for the session. And yes, like the young lady who just spoke, the liver flush.
Got it.
And one of the other things in terms of your whole presentation, I have to work on being a bit more disciplined in terms of when I eat.
Got it.
When I eat, and learning more about some of the things I could be adding to my regimen.
So when we cook next week, it's 90 minutes again. I need everyone to email cooktolive@gmail.com, and then so then I can send you an email about what is it that we're cooking next week, and so that you can know what it is and you can get the recipe if you want to cook with me. Okay. And who else was this? Was this everyone? Aisha, Heidi, Trina. Heidi's off the phone.
Hey, Heidi.
I think Melissa might have fell off.
Yeah, I think she did. Heidi, are you there? Trina? Trina, Heidi?
Oh, is that my mom? Hey, Mom.
Mom, where are you? She's off. Okay, so everybody, let's do a big inhale up. Inhale. Hold for 5. Exhale. Let's do another inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And we're gonna put on some music, and I want everybody to stand up and shake it off. Stand up. And I just need for you to shake, just stand up and just shake it off. You've been sitting for a minute. And you're just swaying the body, you're just swaying from side to side. You're swaying from side to side. Oh my God. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Oh my God. Thank you so much, everybody. That was cool.
All righty.
Oh, Fumi.
Yes.
My mom, if you were watching but not participating in the video of dancing.
Yeah.
I want to call her out for next time.
Yes.
That my mom has to dance a little bit for the next one if you do that again.
Yes, Mom, please do. Guys, we have recorded this whole thing, so I'm going to cut off the recording right now.
All right.
Okay.
I'll send you guys a copy. I'll send you the link.